Tobacco products nationwide from 18 up to 21. The change, all part of a $1.4 trillion spending bill that President Trump signed last week. It's not yet clear when the change will take effect nationwide, but the tobacco purchasing age is already 21 here in California and in a number of other states. This also comes as the country is dealing with an increase in e-cigarette use and related illnesses. Now is also the time of year when many people start making those New Year's resolutions to try to break the habit of smoking. Joining us now is Dr. Paul Brunetta. He is the co-founder of the Fontana Tobacco Treatment Center at UCSF Medical Center. He's also the co-author of this book, Learning to Quit: How to Stop Smoking and Live Free of a Nicotine Addiction. Doctor, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
We've talked a lot off camera. I have family members. My parents smoked. My brother still does. They had cancer issues, but yet they still smoke. So talk about the addiction of smoking.
Nicotine is intensely addictive. It's one of the most addictive substances known. It's right up there with heroin and cocaine. So when people are using nicotine regularly, it actually changes your brain chemistry because there are nicotine receptors in the brain, nicotinic acetylcholine receptors that bind to nicotine, and it changes your brain chemistry. And nicotine has a very short half-life. So your brain chemistry is changed as a teenager. When you don't get access to it, you can feel anxious, depressed, angry. You know, you can have mood swings.
Total mood swings. And
then there's a way to try to relieve that, which is another cigarette, right? So, and that happens typically in teenagers when the brain is forming, and that can cause lifetime problems, obviously. So it's one of the most addictive substances known, and the epidemic of e-cigarette use now is just a public health disaster.
We'll get to that in a moment, but I'm curious about your experience because you started smoking as a young child, really,
I did, yeah.
And figured it out pretty quickly. How did you do it?
I had my first cigarette at 9, and then in high school I was experimenting, and then when I went off to college as a pre-med student, it was pretty stressful, so I was using cigarettes to kind of help with studying, anxiety. Began to realize that I was addicted and had multiple quit attempts that were very difficult for me. But finally I decided I did not want to be a smoking doctor. Just didn't seem like the right thing to do. Was able to quit successfully after many, many attempts.
Right.
And this book has 25 interviews, and one of them is my story, just to help people understand you know, what it's like to go through that as a teenager and a young adult.
And the book, a bit of a journey as well. It took you a decade to write it.
It did. Yeah. It did. We really crafted it. You know, we have 25 interviews in part 1. Different people that were able to quit successfully. So if you're not motivated enough to join a group or to go in, at least you can kind of follow along different people's stories as they quit successfully using different techniques. Part 2 of the book is really the medical information around smoking, heart disease, lung disease, cancer risk, all the background to nicotine addiction, and then all the medications that are used to help people quit successfully.
And reaction so far has been very positive.
It's been positive. It's #1 in its category right now. And if you go to www.learningtoquit.com, the ebook is free today and tomorrow.
I'm no excuse. It's free for crying out loud.
Yeah,
there you
free.
go.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this new law that's about to go into effect, raising the age of buying tobacco products up to 21? It is already 21 here in California. Do you think that'll help a little bit, at least for the younger kids out there?
I think it will help. I really think it will help. I wish it had happened 10 years ago, but I think it certainly will help. Yeah.
And let's talk about vaping, because this is creating all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
And my generation, I mean, I grew up with parents that smoked. I hate cigarettes. None of my friends smoke, but a new generation's getting hooked on this, and here we go again, right?
It's really a public health disaster. So 25% of all high school seniors in the U.S. now report e-cigarette use within the past 30 days. That number's been going up and up and up, and we're not seeing a peak to that yet. So 5 million young people. Again, nicotine is intensely addictive. Many of them don't know that these e-cigarettes and vaping mods have nicotine. And we also see that some people that are using e-cigarettes transition to regular cigarettes.
Right. I would think it'd be a stepping stone to the next step. I pulled this out of your book. 100 million people died of tobacco-related illnesses in the 20th century.
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
That's exactly right. And every year UCSF has something called the Billion Lives Symposium, because close to 1 billion people are anticipated to die this century from tobacco-related diseases.
We
live in a bubble where the rate of smoking is relatively low, but it is very, very high globally.
And before we let you go, a lot of folks out there, New Year's resolutions, say, I want to quit smoking. I hope my brother does someday. What advice do you have to them besides getting your book, which would be a helpful tool, but something inside?
I think really just to be kind to yourself. I mean, this is a stressful season and a difficult season to quit. But it is a great time of year to get new resources and to make an attempt for sure. Don't stop trying. There are many things you can learn, and you can be successful.
What you say in the book, it's like learning to walk. You're going to fall down and bruise yourself, but keep going.
Same thing with skateboarding. You're going to eat it at some point.
Or skiing.
Exactly. But you keep trying and don't stop trying.
Really,
it's the most important thing you'll ever do for your health.
It is a journey. How many times did you try to quit?
More than a dozen.
More than a dozen. All right, doctor. Hey, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. If you would like to read the book or get more help on quitting to smoke, we'll put a link at KTVU.com under the web link section. Doctor, thanks a lot and Happy New Year.
You too.